Hey everyone, I'm Nick and welcome to the channel. This, you may recognize, is my $2,000 2001 Mercedes S-Class with 200,000 miles. Now it's in the garage today because the front wheel bearings sound really bad. Now there are two ways to do this job. You can pull the hub out, pull the bearings out, press new bearings in, put it back in, or you can buy a hub that's already pre-assembled with the bearings in it and use that. And that is the route we're gonna go today because it's a bit easier and I don't have a press yet. Now the first thing we're gonna do is get this in the air and get started. Now if you don't have a lift, you can just chock one of the rear wheels, jack up a corner and put in a jack stand and just work one corner at a time. You get a lot of height, it's very nice. Now one thing you want to keep in mind is if you're going to test, don't use the spokes. I did it once, especially on the rear. I pinched my fingers between the wheel and the caliper. There's a lot less clearance at the back actually, and really smashed my nail in there. It was not pleasant. So just use the tire if you're going to spin something to check a bearing. I'm gonna spray the retainer here. Okay, so right here, we have a T27. It's not supposed to be on really tight, but it's possible that it's seized up. All right, and you wanna make sure this doesn't turn, so put a screwdriver in here. Oh, I guess we can leave that on for now. We gotta get the caliper off. The 18s? They are, okay. Maybe a short 18 and a breaker bar. Let me show you where these are. See right here, down there, and right here behind the line. So this one here, and this one here. One thing we wanna make sure we have on hand is a hook to hold the caliper up, because we don't want to let it hang off the brake line. Once it's broken free, you can use a smaller wrench or smaller ratchet. You know, now that I think about it, I don't think I've touched the calipers on this car before. I did the suspension, but we left the calipers in place when we did that. Support your caliper when you get the second bolt out. There we go. Let's finish getting this little bolt out. Oh, okay, that's good. And now we're gonna work on the hub. You gotta get the cap off here. To remove the cap, I used a screwdriver to start knocking it off and worked my way around once it started coming free. Here we go. And this is our retainer adjuster right here. So I need to figure out what size it is, what size Allen key that is. 5, okay. See right there. I'm gonna loosen this. And we're gonna unscrew it. Pretty good. Oh, there's a lot of dirt in here. Maybe bearing material. Now this has an orientation. So we have see there's a date stamp here, 0100, probably January 2000. Mercedes logo and a couple things there. Okay, I'll clean this off in a bit. Now, this just comes out. Okay, there we go. Now this here is the ABS tone wheel. The sensor lives right here, and essentially it reads pulses from these little gaps in the metal, and a magnet in there. It changes the signal, so when this wheel locks up, it stops reading the pulses, and it releases the brakes for the ABS. Cool. We're gonna clean this up. Yeah, it looks okay. Looks fine. That's good. If you're replacing just the bearings and reusing your hub, this is the part where you push out your bearing races, remove the bearings. So there's the outer bearing, the inner bearing, and then press the new bearings in, and then you would follow the rest just as if you got a new hub assembly. Yeah, this all looks good, feels good, nice and smooth, which is good news. All right, let's feel this bearing here. It's pretty kicked up. It works. I don't know if that's supposed to be like that. I don't know if that's supposed to be loose. Like this. But it's a good thing we're replacing it, because it sounded pretty bad. Okay, so the part I'm using is Febby Bilstein 30945, which is the assembly. And I got it in a kit with Mercedes bearing grease, the green stuff like we saw in there, which is entirely possible that was the original, unless it was replaced at some point in its lifespan, and it's 200,000 miles. So we've got that, and here's what it looks like. We've got the tone wheel, everything's all ready to go. Our new bearing here, the outer bearing. Feels good. Probably pack this up with more grease. We have the outside and inside. We'll want to make sure the tone wheel is nice and clean before we put it in. But you can see it's already packed with a bunch of grease, which is nice. And the seal and everything. That looks good. Okay, now what we're gonna do is pack this bearing. There's a little bit of grease on it, but I wanna make sure there's enough. Pop it in here, get my tube of grease. Start with that. Kind of mush it in here. Definitely want to put more in here. Since I'm doing both sides, anything that's left over is going to go into the other side. And something else we want to do, I'll take that out of the bag once ready to put it on. But we also want to make sure this is greased up. Get my hub here. Make sure the tone wheel is clean. You don't want to get it in this space back here, but you want to get it all over this. Essentially, this surface here is what all the weight from this corner of the car rests on. I think that looks good. Slide this on. You can see this is nice and full of grease too. That looks good. Make sure the bearing spins in here. It goes in here. You see it centered it a bit when we got that. All right, now we can put this on. So we gotta start turning it on. And then back it off. We're gonna put in our measuring tool. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put the disc on, put our retaining torque screw back in, and put a lug across from it. And that's gonna allow us to hold it in place, and we can use it to measure the play. Before we do that, since I think that's gonna be our last step, I'm going to put anti-seize lubricant on here, which will make it easier to remove the disc from the hub in the future. Honestly, shouldn't be an issue since it's brand new, but put this on. Got some washers to simulate the wheel. Now what we're measuring is forward and back. So we have a magnetic mount for a dial gauge. I'm gonna set that up, and I got my dial indicator here. That's metric. You don't have to use a metric one, but that's what I'm using. We're going for 10 to 20 micrometers play, which is 0.01 to 0.02 millimeters. There we go. All right, so you can see here, essentially you see when I pull and push on the disc, we have a huge swing. So what we want to do is tighten this up some more. You'll see it really came down a lot here, but this seems good. Tighten this down. Let me get there's a torque for this. It's 11 Newton meters, but I gotta tighten it up a little bit. Oh shoot, okay. So difficulty is getting the bit in so I can tighten it with a torque wrench. So checking as I go as I tighten it. And we are out. That is like too much. So I gotta back it off a bit. Tighten it up. Okay, that's good. See, the issue is tightening it also seems to move it. That's okay. Essentially this, since each mark is 0.01, we want to make sure we're moving, you know, at most 2 marks over. Like, yeah, we're good here. Uh-oh. No, 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 no. One trip to Harbor Freight later. Okay, so I've got a long 5mm with a ball socket. That'll allow me to get it in and actually seat it properly so I can torque it to spec. There we go. That is torque to spec. Oh, what's that noise? It's the caliper. Okay, so now we want to get our cap here. Clean that up a bit. All right, so we're gonna fill our cap with 15 grams of grease. That'll do. I almost forgot that in the kit, you get new caps here. So I'm gonna transfer that grease into here. Scoop that in there. There we go. Man, it's hard to line this up, huh?
The cap wasn't perfectly round, so I had to reshape it a little bit before it started going in. And then I worked my way around to knock it in place.
Okay, there we go. Now we need to put the caliper back on. Hopefully the calipers will let us back on. They're not.
Since the brake pads were just a little too close together to get the caliper back on the disc, I used a clamp to push one side back in just a tiny bit.
Let's get our torque wrench. We're going to 115 Newton meters. There we go. Okay, and then we can do our little Torx bit here. All right, when we put the wheel back on, we're done on this side. All right, now let's do the other side. I'm gonna put it on time lapse and we'll get to work. All right, so let's see here. It smells kind of bad, but this is just old grease. Doesn't sound crazy. Let's get it out. Let's get our long 5. It looks kind of similar. Not bad. Looks like there's actually grease on the back plate here. So maybe the seal was bad. Luckily everything else seems to be in good shape. But yeah, there's definitely grease back here, which means possibly that, where is it? The seal had gone bad? Yeah, there's grease past the seal here. So that's not a good sign. So this was definitely due for a change. Again, the surface here feels good. No scoring or anything. Kind of expected worse, but it's hard to know just from touching the bearing how bad it is. All right. Let's see how this sounds now. A little bit of brake noise, but once I pump the brakes, it should settle. That is really quiet. And this side, got brake noise, but it spins way more freely. That's nice. All right, we'll torque this up when we get it on the ground. $150 Nm. If you don't want it to roll, just put chalk on it. Boom. And same thing on the other side.
And that's the front bearings and hubs taken care of. It's not a bad job, just take your time with the adjustment and you'll be good to go. At some point I need to do the rear bearings, and that's a little bit more involved since we have to press the bearings out and back in place. So we'll see how that goes. If you want to see that video, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss it. If this video helped you out, don't forget to leave a like, and if you have any questions, let me know down in the comments. If you want to see more videos like this, be sure to subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.